Tigers are giant, apex predators designed for ultimate stealth, which makes absolutely no sense considering they are painted bright, neon orange. If you were to design the ultimate jungle assassin, you would probably give it a ghillie suit. You would want it to blend in with the shadows, the dirt, and most importantly, the massive amounts of green foliage that make up a jungle. You would look at military camouflage, which consists of drab greens, dull browns, and muted grays. You would absolutely, under no circumstances, look at a construction site traffic cone and think, yes, that is the exact color palette I want for my stealth ninja death cat. To the human eye, spotting a 600-pound orange cat in a lush, green forest is incredibly easy. It stands out like a fire engine in a library. Orange and green are practically opposites on the color wheel of things that belong together in nature. And yet, the tiger is one of the most successful predators on the planet, stalking its prey from just a few feet away without ever being noticed. You would think evolution, which is usually a pretty ruthless editor when it comes to survival traits, would have given the tiger a better disguise. A green tiger, perhaps? Or maybe a dirt brown one. But no. Evolution went with the exact color of a dangerously radioactive Cheeto. The reason evolution did this is because, frankly, evolution does not care about you, or me, or what humans think looks obvious. Evolution only cares about what a tiger's prey can see. And to understand that, we have to talk about eyeballs. Specifically, the eyeballs of the deer, the wild boar, and the various other hoofed buffet that tigers enjoy eating on a daily basis. Humans, along with apes and a few other primates, are what scientists call trichromats. This means we have 3 types of color-detecting cone cells in our retinas. We can see red, blue, and green, and by mixing those together, our brains can process millions of different colors. We have the premium, high-definition, top-tier graphics package of the animal kingdom. Most other mammals, however, are dichromats. They are stuck on the free, basic subscription of vision. They only have 2 types of cone cells. Because of this, they are essentially red-green colorblind. They literally cannot distinguish between the color red, the color orange, and the color green. It all just processes in their brains as a sort of murky, yellowish-brownish-grayish mush. So, when a deer looks out into the dense, green jungle, it doesn't see a vibrant emerald paradise. It sees a muted, yellowish-brown landscape. And when that same deer looks at a bright, neon orange tiger creeping through the bushes, it doesn't see a blaring warning sign. It sees a muted, yellowish-brown animal standing in front of muted, yellowish-brown bushes. To the deer, the tiger is exactly the same color as the forest. Add in those vertical black stripes, which perfectly break up the animal's silhouette to look like shadows falling between tall blades of grass, and the tiger goes from being a giant glowing target to a perfectly cloaked, completely invisible assassin. Speaking of things that are completely invisible, please subscribe to my almost dead YouTube channel right now. It takes 0 seconds and feeds my algorithm. So, the orange color scheme works flawlessly because the prey is completely colorblind to it. It's a perfect evolutionary loophole. The predator found a bug in the prey's visual software and exploited it for millions of years. But that raises a massive, glaring question. An absolute elephant in the room. Or rather, a tiger in the room. If green and orange look exactly the same to a deer, why didn't the tiger just evolve to be actually green? Think about it. Being green would work perfectly for hiding from the deer, because to the deer, green is green. But being green would also have the incredibly useful side effect of hiding the tiger from humans, who happen to have excellent color vision and have spent a significant portion of history turning tigers into expensive rugs. Being orange hides them from their food, but being green would hide them from their food and their enemies. It is objectively the better survival choice. But as it turns out, there is a very simple reason why there are no green tigers. In fact, there is a reason why there are no green dogs, no green cats, no green horses, and no green bears. Mammals, as an entire biological class, simply cannot be green. If you look across the animal kingdom, green is everywhere. Frogs are green. Lizards are green. Snakes, birds, fish, and insects have all mastered the art of green pigmentation. But mammal biology is remarkably, almost embarrassingly, boring when it comes to the chemical color palette available in the hair manufacturing plant. Mammals only produce 2 types of pigment in their fur. That's it. Just 2. The first is called eumelanin, which is responsible for black and brown colors. The second is called pheomelanin, which is responsible for red and yellow colors. And no matter how hard you mix black, brown, red, and yellow together, you are physically never going to get green. The green pigment simply does not exist in our DNA. The absolute closest a mammal can possibly get to matching the color of a green leaf, using only the red and yellow paints available in its genetic toolbox, is orange. The tiger isn't orange because orange is the best possible color. The tiger is orange because it is literally the best the mammal body could do with the limited supplies it had in the warehouse. It took a massive bucket of red and yellow phearmelanin, mixed it together to make orange, threw in some black eumelanin for the stripes, and called it a day. Now, you might be thinking, wait a minute, what about sloths? Sloths live in the jungle, they are mammals, and they look pretty green. Well, sloths are not actually green. Sloths are just so incredibly slow and damp that literal algae grows on their fur. They are basically wearing a sweater made of tiny plants. The sloth itself is brown, it just has terrible personal hygiene. Unless the tiger wanted to sit completely still for 3 months to grow a coat of moss, orange was the only biological option on the table. This brings us to an incredibly fascinating surprise about why humans are one of the few mammals that can actually see the tiger hiding in the grass. Why do we have this superpower trichromatic vision when the deer and the boar do not? It wasn't so we could avoid tigers. Millions of years ago, our early primate ancestors lived in trees. They didn't eat grass or leaves, they ate fruit. And if you are an animal that survives by eating fruit, you have a very specific problem to solve. You need to be able to scan a massive wall of green leaves and immediately spot the ripe, nutritious fruit hiding within it. And what color is ripe fruit? It is usually red or orange. If our ancestors had the exact same dichromatic, red-green colorblind vision as a deer, they would have looked at an apple tree and seen nothing but a solid wall of grayish-brown. They would have starved to death instantly. So, our eyes evolved a third cone cell. We developed the specific ability to see the harsh contrast between red, orange, and green, purely so we could find snacks in the canopy. This means the exact same evolutionary trait that allowed your great-great multiplied by a million grandfather to find a delicious piece of fruit in a tree is the exact same trait that allows you to instantly spot a 600-pound deadly predator creeping through the jungle. We cracked the tiger's perfect stealth code completely by accident, just because we really liked berries. And humans actually use this exact same biological loophole today, just in reverse. Think about hunters walking into the woods. What do they wear? They wear blaze orange safety vests and bright neon orange hats. To a human, wearing bright orange in the woods seems like a terrible way to hide. But the hunter isn't trying to hide from other humans. The hunter wants other humans to see them perfectly so they don't get accidentally shot. The hunter is trying to hide from the deer. And because the deer is dichromatic, that blaring neon orange safety vest looks exactly like the green and brown trees around it. Humans are essentially pulling the exact same evolutionary trick as the tiger. We just buy our orange camouflage at a sporting goods store instead of growing it out of our skin. Whenever you see a photo of a tiger and wonder how such a ridiculously bright, colorful animal could possibly be an apex predator in a green jungle, just remember, to the things it eats, the tiger is completely invisible. It is a master of disguise running a color scheme that only works because its audience is physically incapable of seeing the truth. It thinks it is wearing an invisibility cloak. And honestly, considering what it could do to you, it is probably best not to hurt its feelings by telling it otherwise.